All right, let's get right into it. This isn't just a breakdown of the plot of Reborn Rich. No, we're going way deeper. We're going to tackle that really uncomfortable idea at the heart of the show. You know the one I'm talking about. The one that basically takes every moral lesson your parents taught you and just lights it on fire.
And here it is. This is the core, brutal truth of the entire show. Everything you've ever heard about doing the right thing or honesty is the best policy, yeah, Reborn Rich pretty much says that's a lie. It argues that in the world it shows us, a world that looks a lot like ours, playing by the rules isn't just naive, it's a death wish.
So how does the show prove its point? Well, it sets up this kind of grim moral experiment with two test subjects, two different strategies. And we're going to start with the first one, the path we're all supposed to respect, right? The path of absolute die-hard loyalty.
Okay, so meet our first case study, Sean Wu. This guy is, on paper, the perfect employee, the definition of a company man. He does everything the powerful Soon-Young family tells him to do, no questions asked. We're talking handling slush funds, covering up scandals, you name it. He's their loyal cleanup crew. And he's done all of this because he believes, deep down, that his dedication has to pay off eventually. He is loyalty personified.
And what does he get for all that perfect loyalty? What's his reward? A bullet and a long drop off a cliff. The very same family he dedicated his life to protecting decides he's a liability, a loose end. So they just erase him. So much for being the good, loyal soldier, huh?
And that's the thing, isn't it? This quote just nails it. He thought he had a career, a future, but he was just a tool, a disposable one at that. His loyalty wasn't his strength. It was his greatest weakness. It was the thing they used against him, right up until the very end.
Which brings us to a really uncomfortable question, one that this show wants you to ask yourself. How do you really know if you're in a relationship, whether it's at work or anywhere else, that values you? Or if you're just the loyal dog that they're planning to put down when you're no longer useful? Hyun Woo had no idea. He was sure he was valued. How do you spot the difference before it's too late?
Okay, so path number one, blind loyalty, is clearly a dead end, a literal one. But what about path number two? What if you're not naive? What if you see the game for what it is, totally rigged, and you decide to fight back? Not with goodness, but by playing their game, using their own dirty rules against them.
And that brings us to Dojin. Think of him as Hae-in Woo, but with a second chance and all the cheat codes. He knows exactly how corrupt the system is, so he throws naive principles out the window and embraces pragmatism. His belief? To take down the monsters, you've got to be willing to become a bit of a monster yourself. He's going to try to compromise his way to victory.
And you can actually watch his moral compass just slowly break over time. It starts with him staying quiet while a bunch of regular shareholders get completely wiped out. Then, he starts using the legal system as pure theater, a show of justice where he knows the powerful guys will walk free. And it gets worse. Eventually, he's actively protecting a criminal just to get a business advantage. The scary part? Every single one of these choices is presented as the smart move, the pragmatic play. And with every smart move, he loses a piece of himself.
And this is the question the show hits you with, right over the head. Dojin knows what's right, he sees the injustice, but being a white knight, being purely righteous in every single moment, well, that would mean giving up the power he needs to actually win the whole game. So it makes you wonder, can anyone really afford to be that good in a world that's this bad?
This is where things get really bleak, because the show's most devastating point is this. It was never about picking the winning strategy. The loyal guy, the smart guy, it doesn't matter. Both loyalty and pragmatism are traps. They're not just two different roads to the same dead end. No, it's worse. Both paths actually make the corrupt system even stronger.
Think about it like this. It's a vicious cycle. The powerful get away with things. So people like Dojin decide the only way to win is to compromise, to play dirty. But every time they do that, they're basically sending a message that the powerful can't be held accountable. They're helping to prop up the very system they hate. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and they're part of the problem.
So, let's just boil it all down, shall we? You try loyalty, you end up dead.
You try being the smart, pragmatic player, you still end up dead.
Fighting the system gets you killed. Compromising with the system gets you killed. See the pattern here? It doesn't matter what you choose. It's all a trap. The game is rigged from the very start, designed so that you can't possibly win.
I know. It sounds completely hopeless, right? Just pointless. But hold on. Maybe we've been looking at this all wrong.
What if the point isn't about whether you win or lose, or even whether you live or die? Let's try to look at this from a different angle. Because maybe the real tragedy here isn't that they died, it's how they lived. This isn't just a story about a rigged game. It's a story about the choices you make while playing it. It's about the character you build, or the character you lose, on the way to an inevitable end.
When you look at it that way, you see they both failed, but in different ways. Hyun-woo's mistake was giving his loyalty to people who were completely undeserving, who saw him as nothing more than a pawn. And Do-jun? His mistake was deciding that the only way to fight monsters was to become one himself, all for some greater good that, surprise, surprise, never actually arrived.
And that's when the show kind of turns the spotlight right back on you, on all of us. It shows us these two doomed paths and basically asks, okay, if it were you, which one would you choose?
So what'll it be? Are you the loyal dog who gets put down for being too good, or are you the clever survivor who slowly becomes the very thing you set out to destroy? It's a brutal choice, and the show is smart enough not to give us an easy answer. It just leaves you there to wrestle with it.
Because in the end, that's the entire point. Your morality, your character, it's not really tested when doing the right thing is easy and comes with a reward. It's tested when it's hard, when it costs you something, when it might cost you everything. And maybe, just maybe, that's the only time it really counts.